some property that is on Old Hickory, and it's the up there where the church is, near Old Hickory and Pettis, if I'm not mistaken. And you know how my meetings go. The developers are always open because I tell them from the beginning, my folks are going to have some input that they want you to, some input that they're going to want you to listen to, and they're going to have some suggestions, and they're going to have some maybe changes. So don't feel that you are here just to listen to what they are offering and you've got to take all of that, because you do not. They recognize already that there is so much building going up in our area, and density is a big concern of ours. We're getting more traffic, and it's harder to even just get out in the road because of all the traffic and the infrastructure that has a lot of needs. So those are some things that I'm going to tell you that they do understand. And this will not be the only meeting. You know how I am. I'll have 2 or 3 meetings on a particular thing, especially if you all have some suggestions of some things that they need to change and bring back. So I am going to get off now and turn it over to the developers, ask them to introduce themselves, make sure somebody is watching the chat, because a lot of times people will put questions in the chat, and go ahead and take it away. Thank you.
Sure. Yeah, my name is Len Pfeiffer, and I'm with NVR Ryan Homes. I'm joined here by my colleague Andrew Robertson. He's here as well, along with Tyler and James. We're kind of a partnership development, and I'll kind of go through that as well. Is there any way I could share my screen? It says I can't share because I'm not a co-host right now, so I'd love to kind of share it so I can bring up this presentation if possible.
I just gave you
Melanie can arrange that for you.
Looks like we just got through. 1 second. All right, can you guys see that okay?
Yes.
Yes? Okay, great. Yep. All right, so as you mentioned before, we're, like I said, working on a project. It's right there at the church, Cane Ridge Free Baptist Church, that property right there. So kind of what we'll do is we'll explain who we are, what we're proposing to do, the concept plan, about the product types we're doing, and then the updates. So as Antoinette Lee said, Councilman Lee, we did have a meeting, I believe it was back in November. We got a lot of comments from you guys, questions. So we've made a lot of updates. We've been working with you guys. Tony and I have been working a lot back and forth together on a couple of these items. And so hopefully we got some good updates for you guys here. And like I said, we'll just walk through it. If you have any questions, please feel free to, raise your hand, shout out, put in the chat, whatever's easiest for you guys. Like I said, we're just trying to give you guys as much information as possible. So, all right, I'll let James and Tyler introduce themselves real quick.
All right. Hello. I would like to thank you all for attending. I am sure that everyone is here is as invested in our community as I am. I'm James Crockett, the owner of the Rebecca James Company. I moved to Nashville in 1990. I actually live in this district off of Berkeley Road. My company is a premier real estate development company. We specialize in both residential and mixed-use mid-rise development projects. I currently have about 600 units in the pipeline that are in pre-development phase, and my experience ranges from workforce housing all the way up to luxury homes. I appreciate you, and that's it for the Rebecca James Company.
That's good, thanks. I'll introduce you guys to NVR as well. So we're the largest home builder in Nashville. We've done a ton of communities around here, from Franklin, Mount Juliet, Lebanon. I was actually just up in Gallatin this afternoon, so we're kind of all over the place. We do, our products range from condos to 4,000, 5,000 square foot homes and everything in between. Our bread and butter is kind of townhomes a little bit further out. Again, the Antiochs, the Lebanons, Murfreesboros, kind of smaller homes. That's what we do. We do kind of semi-custom built. So we have lots ready to available for folks to come in. They kind of pick out of the several options available. They pick out what kind of floor plan they like of the options, the finishes we provide. And so it's kind of a nice little, not exactly stock builder home, but at the same time you get to customize a little bit to yourself. So that's kind of a little bit about us. And I've been in Nashville for about 6 years now. I went to Vanderbilt for grad school, and that's why I ended up staying around here. But yeah, I'll kind of get into it now as well. So here's the general proposal. So we will be doing a 180 unit community at this property, and you'll see the concept plan a little bit. It'll all be for sale product. It's a big thing that we're both, James and I agreed to, as well as nothing for rent, no short-term rentals, no Airbnbs, none of those kind of things. So James's group is actually doing single family detached homes on one portion of the property. And our group will be doing some front-loaded townhomes and some rear-loaded townhomes as well, on kind of broken up into two different portions on the right side of the property. So this location, if you're not familiar with it, I'll try to give you kind of a rundown as best I can. So again, this Old Hickory and Bettis comes right here. This is, again, our location is right in this little area. We've got a project right down the road, but this is 24 on this side, Nolensville Road and Concord Road. So it kind of gives you an idea of where you're looking at. So this is the concept plan from last time. There's a couple updates we'll get into a little bit, but this is the overall idea of the project. So as I mentioned before, we're doing some single family detached houses along this portion of the project. These will be some townhomes along this front side of the project. And the rear portion will be we call kind of lifestyle 55 plus townhomes. They are first floor primary bedroom townhomes, a 2-car garage in the front. Those can be ADA compliant. That's kind of a thing we do, is to kind of have it a separate area. Because again, we understand, we heard one of the things last time was that you guys wanted more of those homes, so we make sure to dedicate a whole area back there for them. So as I said, we're going to go through a little bit more details here, but again, the front portion of the product, that's some single family detached homes, about 1,300 square feet. And these townhomes range from about, I think, 1,800 to 2,307 square feet. And that's basically because there's a 4th floor option on there. Again, that's something that we like to give prospective home buyers. If they want to take it, great. If they don't need to. It's up to them. And then this is, I talked about before, we've got a product called the Caroline. It's 1,781 square feet. And it does have a first floor primary bedroom. And that's built, again, mostly for older 55 plus communities. So we also have a walking trail in the back. And obviously this is kind of the stream bed kind of going through here that you guys know about a little bit as well. And there's a large TVA easement. There's power lines that kind of coming through this portion of the property. Some of the features we'll have on the property, just for the community members, we've got a dog park, we've got a playground set up as well. We've also got some kind of fire pits and seating areas spaced out throughout the courtyard space as well. As I mentioned there, that's the fire pits kind of thing we're looking for. We also have that large walking trail on the back portion of the property, and that will be not paved because it's not best for the environment. So we'll kind of usually do mulch that trail, clear it out, and that'll be maintained as well by the HOA. A little bit of the product type. So James, I can let you talk about this one. This is their single family detached product.
Yeah, I mean, we're basically going to have 3-bedroom, two bath homes, 2-story homes with the 1-car garage. We're going to have some brick on it, some hardy board. They're going to be nice. They're going to be nice inside and out. So.
And then moving from there, so we kind of talk a little about, this is going to be what our townhomes look like. These are be rear-loaded townhomes in the front portion of the site. And then they'll have an option for a 4th floor as well if they wanted to kind of rooftop area. This is what kind of 2 different renderings, 2 different finishes will look like. And we'll work with, planning group to determine what kind of finishes they're going to allow us to do what they like us to do. This is kind of an, again, idea. And the rear portion of the site, these are those, again, 55 plus. Townhomes we've got, they're called the Caroline. Again, they're kind of front loaded, so you've got garage in the front, and they also have a 1st floor master. So I see a question in the chat about a 4-story rendering. I can get that for you. I don't have it right with me right now, but I can definitely pull it up for you later on the call. So I can definitely do that. All right, I see some questions from Ms. Twania, so we'll get to those in a little bit. So there's a couple on there. So the first kind of some updates we have for you guys from last time. So the first question that was brought up was there's a historic cabin on one of the sites. So we brought this up, or it was brought up to us last time. So since that time, we've had the Metropolitan Historical Commission come out. They've inspected the site. They've checked out the cabin. And what they've recommended to us is that they would like us to relocate the cabin to another portion of the site, preserve it. There is a rear shed that they investigated as well, and they said that's no longer structurally sound and a safety hazard, so like us to take that down. So we're planning on doing that. We've got a proposal to do that. We also completed a full archaeological survey of the entire rest of the site, just in case, for their request. And they found other significant sites on the property, and there were some questions about maybe some Native American sites along the stream That did not come up during their investigation. So this is the recommendation they've had, and we've agreed to do this. So from there, this is the site we're going to be putting it onto. So the cabin currently sits on this kind of portion up here. We'll be relocating it down here, kind of this portion that across TVA easement. We'll be putting a fence around that, as well as putting a plaque up, and then we will be sealed off. It's one of the things we talked to Parks several times about this to see if they wanted to take it, maintain it. They said they did not. We also asked them about possibly donating a portion of the site for them to use as well. They said no as well to that. So we did have discussions. We tried to reach out to them, see what we could do. But unfortunately, they said they were not interested in doing that. So they said, we'll just put it down here, fence it off and block it off and label as to what exactly it was. Next up is the traffic circle. So this is another big debate point as well. So we had originally proposed kind of a smaller traffic circle, and this was proposed to us by NDOT to set up what their renderings were, what their requirements were. A big question you guys asked as well was to enlarge the circle to, again, I think the phrase was to make it for not just 5 years from now, 10 years from now, but 50 years, 100 years from now. So that's where we came in. We discussed with you guys, I know you guys wanted a larger one, about 300 feet. We talked to NDOT and they would not allow that for various reasons. But we basically negotiated with them, and this is what we agreed to. And when the plan is that they would like to submit both of these plans. As you can see, kind of on the left side, this is what the original rendering looked like. And the right side is the updated version that we've got set up. So again, to enlarge this, make it a little better for them, better for you guys as well. So that was a big thing. That's maybe about $1 million commitment on our part. And so that was something that wasn't in our added cost as well. But I think hopefully, again, it solves your guys' questions, issues, and hopefully alleviates some of the pressure down there. Again, one of the other things you guys asked for was kind of a little bit nicer units and kind of a little less density. So we did that. This is a rear portion of the site we talked about. It was kind of a mix of 2 different products. We now reduced the count and made them all the same product. Again, that 2-car first floor master product. The yellow box just emphasizes to show you how much it's changed. There are the other changes around there as well. If you look on the top portion and along the rear, those changed, but this kind of just shows you the different layout we did. So hopefully that helps and again, alleviate some of your questions. Another question we had was the dog park location. They wanted to move it away from the stream, so we did that here. Again, you can show the original location down par, kind of by the traffic circle. We try to make it a little central to the site. We were asked to move it kind of upper to the north portion of the site, so we did that as well per your request. I believe last but not least, there was a question about salvaging the church. I think the first original question was to turn it into a community center. And from there, we looked into that a little bit. We obviously had the biggest question we had was the legality of keeping something like that and renovating it or doing some kind of work to it and making it a community center for active use. Obviously, we didn't build it. We haven't maintained it. We don't know what's put in there. So that was unfortunately a no-go from the jump. We tried to do the best we can with what we could do with this. And so we've come up with a couple of ideas. And the best one we just talked with Tanya about was figuring ways to salvage anything that is in there that is still useful. So I reached out to a couple of organizations, and I know Tanya had a couple as well, but the basic plan is we got them on board to, before we demo the structure, we're going to have them come in professionally, take apart anything they want, could possibly ask for. So big things are plumbing fixtures, light fixtures, doors, millwork, anything like that, furniture and appliances, anything that's still salvageable and useful. I know Salvation Army is one of the groups. We have a veterans group as well. It's coming in, take these things apart and salvage them. Doing the best we can to make sure that things just don't go right in the trash that need to.
I'm sorry if you just talked about this because my internet was messing up. And part of what you all said, I didn't hear. I know you talked about this when we met before, but on this one, did you talk about what you could do to help with that intersection at all? Pettus and Old Hickory, because that intersection across from the church is kind of bad. I think at one time you were talking about trying to get together with another group if they were building, or if you had somebody else to help you when we were talking about a traffic circle. And if you put something there, it wouldn't even have to be a huge, extensive circle, but this just.
Yeah, I'm not sure if your internet cut out, but this was kind of what we discussed a little bit ago. So this was the original traffic circle shown on the left here. That was getting a little smaller. This was for NDOT requirements. That's what they asked us to put in there originally. And so you guys came in there and asked for a much larger one. So we were basically building the largest that NDOT will allow us to build, which is this here over here on the right. So this is about a 100-foot diameter traffic circle. And again, I know the original request, the drawing I got was about a 300-foot traffic circle, which again was a little too, they said absolutely not due to several issues with fire trucks, traffic safety, all those kind of fun things. And also the fact is that we can only do so far as the land we own. And taking easements away, we can't go into the TVA easement as well. So there are a couple of restraints there, but this is the biggest they would allow us to do. So we had several conversations with them. We worked through this in terms of, okay, how we could do it, how we could lay it out. And this is the final result we came to. And again, they've asked that we submit both these plans so they can see the original and the new one for when we actually send this in for approval. But this is kind of what they're, what the best compromise I get in terms of enlarging the traffic circle and calming down traffic. So
Thank you for going over that again.
yeah, of course, happy to do so. Yeah, I know there's a couple of questions in the chat and I can't really see it while I'm sharing my screen. So I'm gonna stop doing that for a second and see if I can pick up on some of those to see if I can answer some of those questions. Let's see here. Okay, so we'll start from the beginning with the 4-story renderings. I will get that and I can send that out shortly as well. Percentage of brick and hardy, some hardy board, some brick. The grading, the garage apartment feature. Okay, so in terms of how much percentage is brick and stone, we'll work through with planning on that. They usually have requirements set up for that. So we'll work through them and see what they ask us to do. Typically we'll do like either front elevations or stone or brick, and then rear and side are vinyl. I know James is doing something similar as well. So again, that's something we'll work through with them.
Yeah.
Did you grading, I'm sorry, did you just say front or back vinyl?
I think it's hardy board. I think we're kind of doing plank, you know, again, nothing. Again, I guess maybe I misspoke there. Yeah, just hardy board. Nothing, no vinyl plastic siding, if that's what you're asking about. So
yeah, mine will be brick.
And when you talk about the requirements of planning and stuff, we like to go above the requirements. This is just a pet peeve of mine, not anybody else's, but I don't like houses that just have brick on the front to try to fool you that it's brick, and then everything else is like well, the older ones, everything else was vinyl, but whatever. Yeah. So whatever it is, I hope it will be a mix and look very good, and not try to fool people that, oh, this is a all brick or even all stone until you look around the side and be like, oh, where'd it go?
Yeah. So mine's won't be all brick. I'm gonna do you know, some workforce housing for sale for home ownership. So I'm not gonna be able to do like 100% brick. I'm gonna have a brick, at least a brick skirt. I'm gonna see how much brick I can get, but I'm at least gonna have a brick skirt on there, and I'm gonna come up with some renderings too. But yeah.
Yeah, that's what we'll need to see, some of what you're talking about.
Okay, yes, this is kind of like typical elevations we'll have. Again, so you see this kind of a mix of brick wrapped around. Again, sometimes we do on the side as well. But again, that's something that, again, as just I understand that you'll want more than planning's requirement. So kind of once we submit it in there and we ask them, they kind of give us what they request, and then we'll probably talk back to you guys and go up from there as well. So
may I interrupt? You keep saying that you'll figure it out when it gets to planning, but we want assurances before it goes there. Like, we're not going to support this if it doesn't already have in writing what the community is known to support. There's a lot of intentions stated, but you're using a lot of words like may instead of absolute language. And even like Mr. Crockett just saying, I'm going to have some workforce housing and some of it is going to be brick, but not all of it. That's not much.
I can't make a attainable home for someone to purchase if I do 100% brick. It's just not feasible. So I'm going to have to make it to where the numbers work out to give somebody a house. These people that are school teachers or police officers, you know, that are trying to purchase homes. I'm trying to get homes that'll be affordable for them, because you know the market is just crazy right now and the prices are extremely high. So that's what
we're saying is we just need the specifics, because you're gonna have to do an SP on it to make sure that some things are in place. And so in order to do all of that, you'll have to have specific language or specifically know what you're going to do. And this isn't the last meeting, so all of that is not worked out yet, Tawana, but it'll be all worked out before we do any signing. And another piece of it, I guess, Mr. Crockett, that she's alluding to is we like for things to be worked out actually before they go to planning. Because then if there's something that needs to be added or changed, you'll have to do that, go to planning and do that. And then I don't know if planning to make a charge for it or what. So it's just that this is still like not really in the beginning, but in the middle. It's not any place near the end yet.
Yeah, so what if I have a custom home for someone that's wanting to purchase one that want to do 100% a hardy board? Are you not going to support that? A homeowner
No,
that wants to buy a house.
that's not what we're saying. So your language would be listing the type of materials that you could put in the house and that we know it wouldn't be vinyl or anything. There'd be specifics about it. And then when you bring us the different elevations back, you'll bring some examples of things that you will have on there. Because I do know that people may want to pick some of their own stuff. Like I may want all brick on mine and I may want to pay for it.
Exactly.
So yeah, I think we understand that.
Yeah. But I'm fine with I am not doing any vinyl on my homes.
No, y'all ain't.
No.
Yeah.
No vinyl.
You said y'all ain't.
I misspoke there. Yeah, we're doing hardy board, and similar to James's amendment, ours are semi-custom, and so that's kind of why I say there will be requirements set up, and I'll get you those requirements. But again, it's be per person how much brick or hardy board they want in their homes. And there'll be minimum requirements, but again, I can't guarantee that it's be 100% brick all the way around because, as James said, we're gonna have people who again can't afford that or don't want that. So there'll be minimum requirements.
When you list them out and you say what your different elevations could be, you can give the different pieces. Like you may say it can be 100% brick, or it can be a fourth of the way brick and some stone. But you can also put in there that it's not just brick on the front and nothing and hardy board all in the back. You may say it's a combination of stone and brick or different things like that. You can say that in it when you write up, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah, there'll be requirements in terms of percentages. So they'll give us usually a percentage of 25% must be brick, 20% must be some kind of brick or stone facade. The rest, and they'll give, again, no vinyl. They'll say they'll need hardy board or the rest of it. And so what we'll typically do is say, okay, the minimum is going to be this, and then it's up to the customer about how much actually they want to put in, how much actually they want to pay for in terms of front, back siding, and then again, for a townhome run, we also have a thing we don't want everything to look exactly the same unless it's all uniform on the top. So we don't want to have it all look identical, same color, same match. So we'll again let every customer pick what they want to do. So hopefully that answers that question there.
I think the biggest thing for me is not, aside from I live few properties from this, and aside from the biggest problem is the number of houses and the number of townhouses being extremely high on this project. It's this deep into Cambridge. But the biggest question is, what is the price range on this townhouse and these houses? What price range are you going to make my property, which is 4 property from your property, become valueless because you are bringing a bunch of cheap properties that's going to destroy the value of my property? Or are you going to bring in some property that's going to bring the value of my property up?
I would hope to bring the value of the property up. Again, so I believe James's properties, kind of single family detached, are again attainable housing. So again, you've got to be certain cash, average payments basically. So you have certain salary you get every year. If you're below that certain range, you can afford his houses in there in the, I think, mid 300s. Then our houses will be in the mid 400s to low 5s. And again, that's pricing as of today. Again, this will be
so detached houses for mid 300.
Again, they will be, yes, but those houses in the mid 300s will only be for those that qualify. So again, you have to have an under a certain, again, we got 26 of them. You have to under a certain annual income in order to qualify for those.
Yeah, because that's going to probably the lowest price range I have seen on any proposal in the Cambridge in last few years, to be honest. But the percentage and what is your lowest price versus what's your highest price, that's also the important. Because how are you going to maintain in this project the basically the diversity when it comes to financial and income diversity Are you going to provide something just for the low? Is it going to be just for a specific range? Or are you going to have a house that goes up to 500?
No,
What is that this going to look like?
so I will go back to the plan and I'll show you just to make sure we're on the same
So
page here.
the houses won't look cheap because I'm gonna get grants from the city to get this to go on. So they're not gonna look cheap at all. Tawana, I see you shaking your head. I'm curious to
Yeah,
why.
because we're talking about cutting budgets and grants are getting cut all over the country. And suddenly I hear you say that you're asking for us to approve a plan that is contingent upon you getting grants from the city in order for it to look nice. And that absolutely makes my head explode because nothing right now is solid as far as markets and governments go.
Well, I'm not getting any federal grants. My grants are local grants. And
Exactly.
and I can easily, and I'm actually just trying to help out the community because I could easily just I can do market rate and sell the houses for, 600, 700,000 if I want, but I'm trying to help out the community and do a good thing right here.
We like the idea of helping out. However, I've asked 3 times, what size are you looking at doing? And that
What
still
size
hasn't.
homes? What size
Yes.
homes? So
Yes.
the units that I'm doing will be between 1,300 and 1,500 square feet.
And these are the
Okay,
units
and
up here that
those
he's doing.
units, are
Yep.
those the 26 that you plan on selling for the mid 300s?
That's correct, yes.
Correct.
And for those 26 units, you are planning on getting city grants. Has that money already been set aside, and how do you know you're going to get the grant?
So I
compared to
can
anything
easily
else?
develop these without the city money, but I'm gonna, like, at market rate. But I plan on, doing this attainable homes to, like I said, help out the teachers. And I'm seeing the need. I've talked to the community. It's people out there that are tired of renting and they want to move into home ownership and they want to buy a home and they can't. There's teachers that are
I
struggling
see
right
that,
now.
and I'm on board with that. You don't need to
Yeah.
convince me of that.
I'm just letting you know what's going on out here. So
You're
I know
talking
y'all are,
you're talking to police right here, so
okay.
I'm with you.
All right. Well, then, I'm pretty sure you have some counterparts that can't even afford to live in Nashville right now.
Lots of them.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do. I'm just telling you, I'm really trying to do a good thing and help out. Like I build luxury homes. And when I build attainable housing homes, I make them just as nice. They're going to be really nice on the inside and out, like great fixtures, the exterior product. I'm not putting vinyl. I don't even like vinyl siding. So I'm not going to put vinyl siding in there.
I think I hear you, but James, you're only 20 plus. They're 100 plus, so 80% are townhouse, and that's my big problem coming this picture. Townhouse are going to destroy the property value of around it. The townhouse is going to bring townhouse on the border outside of Cane Ridge, great. Townhouse that much deep with this many number deep in the Cane Ridge, that is where our problem is coming from. And you can see the chat, other people are talking about it as well. It's not just me.
Yeah, but you're saying cheap, but the houses in Burke Commons, which is Nolensville side of Davidson County, or the Davidson County side of Nolensville, their houses are selling. I know 4 stories. One of my fraternity brothers live in a townhome, and the houses is between 400,000 and 500,000 right now.
That is why I'm asking, what is the price range? Not just yours. You're 20. You speak about it. What is the price range for the townhouses?
That's what I've said it twice. As I said, mid 4s to mid 5s. And that's, again, assuming I'm selling it today, right now. That's what we're doing. Again, I can't guarantee what the price can be when this project comes to fruition in 3 years. Nobody can have a crystal ball and tell you that. But if I was selling them right now, right now, today, it'd be mid 4s to mid 5s. Yeah.
And then if you look at it, though, I have to tell my wife this because I actually live right by the Burke Commons neighborhood. And you don't really need to look at the 400 or 500 price range. It's really price per square foot. So you got to compare price per square foot with your house versus the townhouse price per square foot. And then you'll see how it actually, that same price per square foot for a 3,000 square foot house would be, $700,000-800,000. So you just got to compare. That's how you compare apples to apples, is by doing price per square foot.
Thank you for clarifying that one. And I think it was in the comment as well that in the past we requested to reduce the number of townhouses, but it didn't reduce in the total number that much. And it's in the comment as well if we go back. And I do agree, this is 80% townhouse. If this was beside I would say, okay, you are in the out circuit of Cambridge, fine. You are in the deepest section of Cambridge, to be honest. You are on the section that you are on the road that Old Hickory is actually known for its 5-acre properties, single house. And they're all that way. So imagine, just put yourself in stuff me. Imagine all these 5-acre single house, and then suddenly 170 or 120 something, basically townhouses. That culturally doesn't match together and doesn't look that well. And specifically all these townhomes by the road, the distance by the road are very small. You see all these, it looks like you suddenly enter downtown, not actually you are in the Cambridge with all the beauty of this nature in it anymore.
I understand, and I do appreciate that. And that's why we're trying to leave as much green space as possible. But I also want to be very clear that there is growth coming down this road. And because we're doing this, we're doing the traffic circle. If we don't do this development, you don't get any of these things. There's, I think, another 380 units going in across the street. There's another 200 some going down the road from there. Again, the growth is coming this way. And we're trying to make sure that, again, like we're trying to get back to the community. We understand that. And that's part of the process. That's why we're trying to do the traffic circle for you guys, trying to save the cabin, trying to leave green space.
Exactly.
So again, we're working with you guys, and we understand the growth coming here. And if something you don't want, we understand it as well. And that, unfortunately, then we can't, there's only so much I can squeeze to do this project. Otherwise, again, we can't do it at all. And that's unfortunate. But if that's what you want, we understand as well. So we're just trying to get out and have that discussion.
The only correction that I want to put there is that the 300 homes, the majority is not, the large percentage, 80% is not townhouse. It is a 300 homes, but it's not, the single project doesn't come with 80-90% townhouse and a very small number of detached houses. That's where the difference is.
Yeah. So, I mean, we gotta have some kind of density. Like Lynn said, that we're gonna build this roundabout. That's gonna cost $1 million. Like, that's expensive. Like, like we're not getting help from any of those other developments for this roundabout. So like you want us to keep cutting, but it's got to make sense. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just being honest. I live down the street. I drive that way. I live right over there by Burkett Commons, and my kids go to Ezel Harding, so I pass through those roads every day. So I understand, but I do think the roundabout is going to be beneficial. I do think I understand it's going to be a lot of townhomes, but its growth is coming. Growth is coming, and we gotta have some kind of we gotta have some density to make the numbers work, to be able to make money and build this roundabout and move this cabin that's deteriorating. They're making us preserve this cabin that nobody even wants to maintain. I'm just being honest and just put it out there. So like I said, I'm a neighbor in the community, so I'm just putting my 2 cents in there too.
I totally agree. So there was a question in the chat and I want to ask it. What percentage of the property will be untouched for the animal that they can walk around? Like, what is that when you say you're preserving nature? What percentage of that property is going to be untouched?
I believe it was about 38%. I can get you the exact number, but I believe it's close to 40. Because again, I can show you on the overall plan. I'll pull it back up in a second. Second here. So again, all of this back here, anything from the stream, all this on the TVA easement, all this around here, this will all be untouched. The only thing we're doing is putting in a walking trail, and obviously if you don't want that, we don't have to put that in. If you want to leave that in the strip as well. But all of this, anything on this side of the property is all untouched.
Have
You made
anybody who has
contact-
not, do I have anybody who has not talked yet that may have a question, had put it in the chat, but would like to ask it yourselves or anything, or have comments?
Want me to go? Yeah. This is Patricia Miller.
Hi.
Hey there. Yeah, we had a few, just concerning the green space, it appears that a lot of that is right next to the,
Within.
right, within or near the TVA power line and the easement. Is that,
That's correct.
yeah.
Yep.
I mean, can people even walk in that easement where the power lines?
Yeah, technically,
Yeah.
we can do anything but build homes there. I mean, we do a
Yep.
lot of things. We like to put amenities there, dog parks, walking trails, amenity centers, anything like that. We can do anything out of those. But again, we decided to leave it. I know the stream, obviously, we don't want to touch either. That was a big important part for us, was leaving the stream buffer there. Originally, part of the original plan, I think back in the day, was actually crossing this stream and building some homes on this side. And we took that out because we were told that was not wanted, and so we understood that. So we've had, again, we could build anything but homes under the TVAs, and we're deciding not to. So
Is that area being, I guess they keep it maintained so that it's kind of doesn't grow up? Is that how that area is?
not really. So again, they'll try to they'll maintain the strong word. They're not going to mow it every day if that's what you're asking for. They'll basically try to keep it below the power lines. And right now there's nothing more than there's some smaller trees, but mostly just tall grass.
Yeah.
They'll maybe come by and mow that once a season, but it's not going to be like fully maintained. It's not going to be a field that you can use.
That would be an possible opportunity for with their cooperation to make some kind of a better natural area using native plants and get removing invasives. We know some other folks who live near another right of way off of Cane Ridge Road who are doing, I guess they're farming it or something. They're doing some agricultural and stuff, keeping it down. Well, in this case, it would seem like it could improve the area by doing some kind of work to keep invasive plants down and to get native plants in and to make it more, inviting and good, better habitat for the wildlife that will be, walking along that little branch of the creek and through the wooded areas. So I'd like to put that out.
Sure. Yeah. I know there's a question in the chat about how large this project is. The total project is about 32 acres. And like I said, I want to say it's a little more than a third of that. So I think it's about 12 acres, maybe 13 or 14. I might be more, and I'll give an exact number to send it out, but that is going to be dedicated green space.
So
Any other questions though?
Yeah, I'm just wondering if,
Yeah.
I just want to finish, see if that's,
Someone's got to go.
I just wanted to finish my statement about. Anyway, I'm hearing an echo, but is there any possibility we'll be able to do more of a natural native plant habitat along that that right of way and make it more of a natural area that would really be helpful to the environment?
Sure. I mean, there's definitely something we can look into. Again, that was not been brought up before, so we can definitely look into what that would be. I know we're going to have an HOA here, and that'll be probably part of that process is maintaining the space. And so if there is a process and something that's wanted the community about maintaining and taking away invasive species, we can definitely do that. I also do a lot of charity work with some groups around here who do kind of outdoor work, do a lot of work at Shelly Bottoms Park, kind of the parks around here. So definitely happy to reach out to them as well and see if they'll come by and do kind of invasive species clear out.
Well, we'll, I guess it'd be good to have that as part of the plan. Just see if it could be in writing.
Yeah. Any other questions you guys have? I think you get a couple more. So.
Hey, real quick. So I own the field across the street from the roundabout. I've noticed with the increased size of the roundabout, that is going to go into where the retention pond currently sits in front of the church. I've lived here long enough. I've seen the road flood over. I'm wondering what y'all's plans are for storm runoff if that retention pond goes away.
Yeah, that was kind of part of our question in terms of working with NDOT to get that fixed. That's why we couldn't limit it. I think if you on mute, might help that echo. Okay, there we go. So that was kind of part of the discussion. I know originally, they're gonna basically do a lot of grading here to make sure that all that water gets put where it needs to go, and we're gonna have during the course of the CDs, we'll definitely have a lot of work in terms of, we've already had hydrologic discrimination studies about what to do, what you cannot do, and that's why the size of the traffic circle is what it is. We can't make it much larger because we don't want to go any further into that. We understand there is road flooding, that's why we're working on the grading. And we'll have a grading plan as we go through CDs to see, okay, how do we mitigate all this water? And then that's part of our, we've got stormwater areas dedicated throughout as well. But again, I can't really know until we get further along the process of, exactly how we're going to do it. But basically, the plan is we will have many studies, and we've got environmental scientists who are part of the project who will make sure that there's no stormwater runoff going across that bridge anymore, or across that road anymore.
Thank you.
Yep. Anyone else have any questions? Happy to answer them as best I can.
I do.
Yeah.
So if you could show the large map with the whole development that also shows the contours, and maybe you can zoom in a little bit so it's a little more visible if you're able to do that. If you are down at the intersection of Pettus and Old Hickory, in like Abrams Field that he's talking about, and looking up, can you sort of paint a visualization of, based on the contour, which houses you're going to see and where you're going to see them, and just kind of provide a bit of a visual. I don't think y'all done one, like all of your graphics are flat. They show flat grain. None of this site is flat, of course. So I think it would help a little bit to talk about what would actually be seen.
Sure.
So-
Yeah, you're good. So obviously the road's coming down here. So what you will see is kind of, again, these houses, you'll definitely see those coming up. I think I can't really zoom in too much while on the PowerPoint, but there is kind of, you see the contour lines coming up the road here. So this is kind of the low point, and it works its way up kind of throughout the site. And this is one of the high points over here. So again, from the road, you will definitely be able to see these homes. Again, they'll be kind of further back. They'll step back to give you an idea. Like this is about, 100 feet to about football field away. And then from there, again, this will all be about the same height. These will all be 3 and 4 stories. So you'll see the front of those, and all the rest of these will kind of be tucked behind all of that. From this road, again, you'll have this high grass here. You can't really see this too well because of the trees and the foliage going on. And this kind of again drops down. But you definitely probably be able to see a little of these. So those top stories of them. But again, it's up to the options if these owners want to do the 4th floor story or not. And then other than that, obviously everything else behind here will all be tucked away. You won't see these too much from the road at all. Again, this kind of comes up the hill as well. And I know there's another development kind of going back here in the near future. So that's the best I can do for right now. Hopefully it gives you a little bit of idea of what it is, but I don't have any renderings showing what it looks like from the front into there, if that, unfortunately.
Let me offer something for your consideration, if I could. If you think about what people are going to see driving by every day, and to Brant's point about another nearby development that ended up working out something where it saved got pretty close to 50% being preserved, and there are much larger buffers, and so it's not really going to be visible from the interior community roads like Old Hickory Boulevard. If you were to forego just those 4, 5, 6, 7 units on the front, and instead that was tree canopy, would be very different as far as what everybody sees every day. So I offer that for your consideration. I recognize the trade-off between having the more compact stuff and leaving more green space. However, I do also recognize that much of what isn't being built can't be built. So there's still a little wiggle room here, to Saman's point about changing the character of the community. So if you can look at those few against the front, and then I still have some concern about the very closest adjacent neighbor and the lack of a buffer for them. So if you can talk about that, or if maybe you've had contact with that neighbor and we just don't know it.
Yeah. Well, I will tell you, we did talk to this group up here to the north of our property, and that's a development that's on pause right now. But we did speak with them directly, and they said that, you know, we had to coordinate with them about our road connections, things like that, and they had no issues with it. And then in terms of down here, again, these are all backyards kind of further off the side of it. I've not reached out to these neighbors back here, but again, part of the planning's request was to have a road connection coming through here as well. So I know that there'll be, at some point, a road kind of coming back through here, and there'll be homes, you know, not back, but basically having backyards to backyards. So I guess whenever those do get sold and developed, that'll be the same thing there as well. And then in terms of the front of the property,
The one that has the big house on it.
the one that has the big house on it. I'm not sure which one that's. This one right here?
Yeah.
I've not talked to them directly. I believe that James and Tyler might have, but again, we've got, I think on that side of the buffer, I think we've got about 30 or 40 feet from the back of these homes. So in the required buffer, I think is 20. So we definitely have doubled that around here as well and given some extra space. And again, another thing we also haven't really talked about and haven't shown here is landscaping. Now you mentioned the tree foliage up or a tree cover up front. You know, we're definitely, this is no landscaping shown on it at all. So definitely landscaping throughout the site. And that's something we can definitely look into as well in terms of if you want trees in the front, trees along the back of this property line. Those are definitely things we can look into. So again, we just tried to get an average layout, get an idea of what was going on here. Yeah, I see a hand up. Is that Brian Patricia again?
Yes, could you tell me, I see several areas that say storm water. Are those retention or detention ponds?
They will not be full-time ponds. They're just kind of, I believe, it's retention areas, just temporary. For example, if there is rain, it's basically areas blocked off. So we might maybe kill a ditch in there to kind of store some of it, but not full-time ponds, if that's what you're asking for.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. I see a question of what are fewer homes in townhomes. Again, that's kind of, unfortunately, we've already been lowering it down, and this is kind of, especially with the traffic circle, it's kind of, our financials are now pushed to the brink. So to be candid and honest, again, if we can't get this kind of number of townhomes, this volume, we probably won't be able to do the project. Again, that's about another 4 or 5 years down the road when this traffic circle gets done. So I know we want more buffers, we want more things, and I'm trying the best I can. And I've worked, like I said, for months trying to get this thing worked out and do the best I can with in terms of meeting some of these demands and requests. But like I said, I being fully transparent is probably the best I can do in terms of density. You know, we lower any more, I think we're going to be unfortunately out of. If we lower any more, I guess we'll have to take some things away, which I don't want to do. Especially traffic share, that's important. That's a big dollar sign for us. If we want to reduce that back, we're happy to do that, and that'll kind of give us some leverage to reduce some homes. But we're doing the best we can.
In regard of the circle, and I totally understand the cost being so much challenging on it, but my question is, this circle is actually right by the property that is about to bring 300 homes. Have you ever talked with them so that they share this one? Because I think we have to warn on everybody on this call, we shouldn't just push this circle on you because you're bringing high density. There's another one bringing high density on the same place. They should take part on this circle so that you can bring down the density. I think that should be the right approach.
We have talked to them. They have said no. To be blunt about it. I know that I believe 20 is working with them as well to ask, but we've met with them, and again, we actually know them professionally. We work with them a good amount, and they have said that they've got to do a lot of offsites for their work as well. I'm not sure what those are. I'm not, not very detailed. I don't know the ins and outs of their projects, but I know they do a lot of offsites, road improvements. So they said that this is something that we're on our own for. So if you can get that through, I'd appreciate it. I would definitely want to complain. But right now we have had discussions with them, and they're not willing to help out with that cost. So
no other new people have come to me that are going to get ready to put something right there. The time that you talk about doing circles, heavy buffers, all that kind of stuff is before things get signed off on, when people are just saying they're interested in coming.
all right, I'm not really following. Was that a question? You want us to? Sorry, can you repeat that again? I'm just not really following you.
Are you talking to me?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah, I was just answering his question
Okay.
about
Okay.
other people should be doing things, and I was saying no one else has come to me now saying we're ready to put something else in that area where I could have talked to them about a buffer or heavy buffers or circles or things. I was just letting them know the time you do that is when the developers are just coming to you to say, we want to be here, so that we talk to them about, well, how can you help the community? And that's when that gets done. Once things are already in, then they're going to say, nope, we don't have the money.
Well, the other problem is that the other one is in District 31. So it's a completely different council district.
Ah, there we go.
Yeah.
Which
So
I
they're across
think,
the street.
which I would like to propose, if possible, we schedule a meeting with you and basically Rutherford. We meet together as a community and talk about this, because these two are side by side, even though they're in different districts. If we get aligned on that topic, that will help.
I can talk with him about whatever, but right now we've got somebody who is willing to do that for us. And so, yeah, I don't mind talking with him about doing other things that you all want to do as a community, but I guess it just depends on what developments he has going up at that time and where they're going up and what they're willing to do.
Yeah, I would say that, as Tanya mentioned, they're already kind of in the queue for planning. I know that I think they submitted their package. So at this point, it might be a little tough to get them to, again, I'm sure they've already, at least on my side of things, they've already at that point, I know my financials and what I'm looking at. So I don't think they'll be willing to add too much to their project, but you definitely have that conversation. So I'm just giving you a heads up that they might not be willing to budge, and they've already got their approval from their council person. So they might say, hey, we've already got it, so we don't need to do anything else.
That's news to us that they've already been approved by their council person.
Not approved. They're in the queue. Sorry, they aren't fully approved. They're in. They've submitted to planning. They've submitted their SP proposal. So.
And I'm going to say, if you all are talking about something happening in another council district, maybe just get with that council person to talk about them instead of, us saying about stuff at this meeting. Because I'm not going to be like other folks.
I will say that just for Saman's benefit, that we've asked other developers to pick up the stuff between the Circle and Old Hickory Hills. Every developer that ever comes out with anything, whether it's 31, 2, or 3 out here, we ask for pretty significant improvements. And we also ask every developer for an invasives removal plan, only planting natives, not disturbing, buffers, and doing all the same things. We're consistent about our asks. And the one across the street has also got all those same kind of asks with walking trails and preservation and all that stuff. So just FYI.
Any other questions, concerns I can help with? I know we've talked over a lot and gone over a lot of things, but.
Hey, Glenn, I wanted to bring up I just wanted to let everybody know that you don't have to worry about the value going down, even with my attainable homes. Because like if you look at mine's, like I said, you look at it at price per square foot. So even if mine's at 1,350 square feet, if I sold it at 350,000, that's $259 per square foot. So if you equate that to a 3,000 square foot home, it's like $777,000 home. So price per square foot will be where it needs to be to maintain the value of the homes, for sure. Just letting you know. So.
I know we have quite a few other people on here, and we don't have that much more time, but I do want to open it up and give other folks who haven't said anything or expressed an opinion about something or an ask about something, so that the developers can hear that and put it in with what they have. They're going to have to come back to us again with some more drawings, some stuff fleshed out a little bit, so that we can see exactly what's going to be there, how it's going to go, and all that type of thing. But so this is the time. If you have something else that you want to do or say before we cut it off, go ahead, please.
Councilmember Lee, if no one else is speaking up, I just want to reiterate something that you said earlier. We just had another developer tell us that they wish they had had the really detailed conversations before anything went to the Metro Planning Commission. It has been difficult for them to get things back to change the plans, and they said it has cost them more money and ended up costing more time. So, Les, first off, I want to say I'm sorry for missing the meeting with you. Y'all had been willing to have a community meeting, and I just got y'all mixed up with the other developer, and my apologies for that. But it does work well to talk to the community, to spend a little more time on the front end, and I appreciate very much your willingness to do that.
Of course. Happy to do it.
This was one of the groups that actually at the last meeting had a very good meeting. Folks were giving suggestions. Some people expressed the way that they like certain things or whatever, and they were open to hear and take those. So it was a very good meeting. I'm sorry you weren't at that one as well, Tawana.
She was, yeah. She was there.
It was at the last meeting.
Yeah. Our last meeting was again November, and that's where all those updates came from. Is that again? She brought it up the cabin, which I was unaware of at the time. They asked about the dog location, the traffic circle. So, and we've made a lot of changes.
Bad.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
It's
yeah,
all right.
we made a ton of changes, a ton of work. It's been like I said, 4 months of going back and forth and trying to get some things worked out. And again, having Metro archaeological teams on site, working with NDOT. I did see a question in the chat about releasing the survey, and we're happy to do that as well, and the recommendation report. So definitely can do that. But yeah, we've done like I said, it's been a ton of work this past few months. So. Okay.
Norma, would the church like the steeple back eventually?
Okay, the steeple. Okay, yeah, we can figure that out.
I bet they would.
Oh, you got your question? Yeah, I see a hand up.
I just wanted to make a comment. We are members of the Mill Creek Watershed Association. And in our time with that organization and other professional backgrounds, just a reminder that dog parks are the worst contributor to stream pollution that there is in this county. Just a reminder. So please keep those where that they will not be allowed the runoffs into the stream.
Yeah, that was a mention that 20 brought up last time, and that's why we moved and relocated it for that exact reason. We were told again.
Hopefully they'll pick up their poop too.
Hopefully,
that
yes,
that would solve the problem.
As a dog owner, I would appreciate that as well. But yeah, we relocated that from kind of in the middle of the site, because we thought we'd try and make it central for everybody, not as far a walk, but we were asked to move that off that stream. So we did that, put it up to the north part of that site. So.
Scoop the poop.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, I think that's it then. Well, thank you very much, guys. Appreciate your time. If you have any questions, like I said, my email address is on there, but if you have anything else, I think Antoinette will connect you with us as well. So.
Thank you so very, very much for everybody being on here. And have a good night. It's still time to get a good dinner. All right. Good night,
Thanks,
everybody.
Councilwoman Lee.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you
Thank you,
all.
everybody.
And thank you again, Melanie.